Oh geez. Hello. Hello. Oh no. Okay. Oh geez. Hello. Everything's happening. Hello. How are you all doing? Y'all did great at Portal 2. Everyone's screaming. Why are we screaming? Yeah. Oh no. What's happening? Let me. What are we doing? It is. It's close enough. All right. Sure. Well, thank y'all for joining me for the next hour or so. Yes, we're making art. We're actually going to switch scene real quick. Oh no, we pretend that didn't happen. And no, you don't say that either. I am doing great here. All right, what are we doing? We are, well, yeah, we're making some art. We're gonna do it in a couple ways today. So, shit, what are we doing? I have a thing in Blender. I figured we could take a look at. I can make some kaleidoscopes. Actually, we can see what this looks like. Real. Oh wait, nope. Oh no, I don't know Blender. Oh no, I moved the thing. All right, whatever. You know what? It's fine. We're here. We're fine. We're doing amazing. Can I put it like here? All right, there we go. I know what I'm doing. So there was a tutorial that I looked at with Blender where it's like you can take an image and then make it kind of mirror itself. So we're going to do a little bit of this. Can I zoom in? Oh no, everything's falling apart. But basically, it's just kind of doing its own thing. So that's one thing. Another thing I figured we could do is we could do a little bit more of the JPEG stuff. So if we look at, I think we did a little bit of this last week. Processing, JPEG bending. So we can take something that looks like, I don't know, like this, how it's all black and white and stuff. And then we can tell it, no, you look like this. So we're going to do a little bit of that. And then the last thing I figured we could do is do a little bit of misuse with FFmpeg. So for those that don't know what FFmpeg is, it is a software that's kind of used, it's like a load-bearing piece of software where it's basically used to convert between different formats. So converting from video format to video format, converting from image format to image format. A lot of different like audio programs and software programs use it in one way or another. And you can also just use it yourself. So for an example of what we're going to do, we're going to go into, let's see, I think it's here. Okay, so I rigged a thing in FFmpeg to allow for, hey, here is this image here. We saw it, we loved it last week. We're going to take another set of colors. So that is, for instance, this tiny little PNG set of colors here. This is our palette. And then we're basically going to remap the colors on another image. So what that left us with, so I think we took this image and this one too. We took this palette. No, wait, no. This palette, and then that gave us this. That gave us, let's see, gave us this. And basically we can do this to images, to videos. You can basically just use this to very hackily recolor videos and images using the colors from something else. So that's what we're going to do a little bit of today. There's an even hackier way to do it with GIFs, where you can go, if you go into the image, I think, if we go back a step, go into processing, GIF bending, I think it was this one and this one, where, hey, this is our source image. With GIFs, all the colors are baked into a color table. But what's called a color table, it's just like a set of, it's a part of the file where the colors are stored in hex code. You can go there and fuck with it. And if you fuck with it, you can get stuff that looks like this, where you're basically just changing what the different colors are for the different pixels. So we're not doing this today. This is a little more in the weeds, and we're going to be doing enough of that with the JPEG stuff. So I figured we would take it easy on ourselves tonight. It's also really difficult to, there's more steps to do it with video because you need to convert the whole video to a GIF and then do the remapping, and that's assuming it's got one color table, and then there. And instead, with the power of FFmpeg and VS Code, we have a script that can do some of that for us. So I am not good with FFmpeg, so I just sort of wrote some code that's going to do a thing. We're going to do it really hackily, and that's fine, etc., etc. Hopefully the things that we make look cool. But yeah, thank you for joining me tonight. Let's figure out what we want to work with. We've got some examples of stuff. Go to here. We've got some of the the stuff that we glitched from last time. I figured we could do a mixture of glitching things, or working with some of the glitch stuff, but also working with some of the original stuff, just so we can get some variation, see if that gives us anything else. So we're going to go back to here. We've got the OG stuff that we're going to pull in if we need it. Actually going to go with the low quality JPEGs. Okay, so why don't we start... I want to get some video sources. I'm also curious how long it's going to take for Blender to do its thing while I'm streaming. I tested this before, and I'm using, for Blender, fellow Blender nerds, I was using Eevee, and it was pretty quick, but I also wasn't streaming, so we will see how long this takes. But let me see if I can get... Let's see, we got this one. This is the original files. This is the glitched files, and this is the FFmpeg file. Okay. So we're going to just straight up drop some stuff into here. Do some stuff here. And do some stuff here. Okay. So we've cleared out our set here. What we're going to do... Actually, you know what? Maybe we're going to start with the bending the JPEG versions instead, because that'll give us more material to work with. If we go back a step, so this is the OG glitch. Oh, you can't hear me too well. It might help if I turn the music down. Thank you for that. What are we doing? Also, yeah, the music is kind of loud. Freaking Final Fantasy X here. Well, 10-2 actually. Where are we? Over here. This song's good. That's fine. Got some Inscription, some RuneScape. Yeah, okay, we're good. Okay, so that's Blender. That's not what we need. We want to do some JPEG stuff. So let's... I didn't mean to turn this into a watching Alex navigate his computer stream, but you know what? Here we are. All right, we're going to do some JPEG bending. So for that, we need to go into the Glitch Tools program. This is my half-baked attempt at bending images. So we have the source images from last time that we made. They are in lower quality JPEGs to make them easier to work with. And what we're going to do is we're going to break it into different chunks. So a different program that I have, we have the Glitch Tools program. What it's going to let me do is I'm going to basically say, hey, look at this JPEG, break it out into its separate chunks, and then make a copy of it. Then we're going to mess with the copy of it and see what it gives us. And if we go too far, then we have the original thing that we can just duplicate and then start over. So let's go into here. We're going to, what are we looking at? Data, L1 bending. Let's start over. We are starting all the way over, deleting that. Now, we also need to be aware of the different routes we have here. So what I want to do is I want to analyze this file. Doing JPEG analyze, but first I actually need to make sure I've got some images. I have some images. We're starting with LL1. That is this one here. We're going to add some color to it. So going into here, I need to analyze it. I need something to work off of. So we're going to use JPEG analyze. Need to be in this terminal. All right, what are we doing? sh main sh JPEG analyze. That gave us exactly what we were looking for. So we have LL1, which is the whole JPEG broken out into its separate chunks, all the different tables of it. We also have LL1 bending. That's what we're going to use to actually break it apart and all that good stuff. Now, another thing that I'm going to need is some references from a class that I've taught in the past called Optical Hijinks for Glitch Happy Gremlins. I have two resources here, the JPEG Bending 1 and JPEG Bending 2. And what I put together here are just some different ways that if you have a JPEG that you can bend, what are some ways that you can mess with it? So we have We can mess with the Huffman table. We can mess with the body itself. We can mess with quantization tables and all this other stuff. Now, to be completely honest, I don't know exactly what these things are doing, but it's like, you know, at least the way I like to learn things is, you know, not be too concerned about what exactly is happening, but if I can at least do it correctly, then I can come back and understand it later. So, what are we doing? We are messing with a JPEG, and probably the least destructive way we can mess with it initially is the SOS marker. Now, when you're doing data bending and things like that, messing with a file, depending on the file, well, I mean, if the file is very structured, if it's a compressed file, you want to be really careful, because if you start cutting things here and there and changing things, you might end up changing something that it's relying on. So in JPEGs, they have these things called markers. Data is structured in tables. It's kind of like if you're on in an HTML page and you remove like something in a table, like a tag in a table, and then the whole table falls apart. Basically that, except now you have a broken image. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the SOS marker. And you know what? That's fine. Okay, so we're going into LL1 bending. And just to remind myself, we want to use the... What are we looking for? Compile, bend data, JPEG, compile, bend. Okay, so we're going to make some changes, but what we're aiming for is after we bend a little bit, we're going to recompile the image. I don't know if that's the actual word for it, but that's what I'm saying. And what I called this was JPEG compile bend. That's going to throw all this together into our output folder and give us our valid image, assuming that it's still a valid image. If it's not, then it's going to tell us that it's broken and then we need to start over, which is fine. But going back a step, we're working with a black and white image that might lead to some issues, because it might not have all the colors that were... It might affect the data in the tables potentially. I don't know enough, but we're going to start with the SOS marker, because there isn't too much that we need to change. So what we have here, markers are really important. The marker is FFDA, the length is 00OC, and then we have everything else. Also, with a lot of data, it's in hexadecimal. Having a hexadecimal converter, super important. So we're going to look for the SOS table. Hex editor, I want to be in insert mode. And part of the reason why I did this is if you are bending a JPEG in a hex editor, it is a real pain in the butt to have to dig through the file to find this. So I figured this would be the least pain in the butt way to actually do data bending and things like that. So that's what we have. All right, so FFDA, that's our marker. We have the 2 bytes, 00OC, that is 12. And then this is the rest of our table. Now, if we go into the rest of the table, we have a few different segments. We have the number of components. We have the something that relates to the Huffman tables that we'll get to. And then we have the spectral selection and successive approximate byte. Now, again, I don't really know exactly what these are doing, but there's a lot of good resources. Korkami has a really good breakdown of what this does. I think Patrick C has a really good breakdown of what these things do. I'm just here to break things and have a good time. So, the successive approximate byte, that's our last value here, and the spectral selection is 0, is these two before it. And they need, so for the spectral selection, it needs to be lower to higher. So we're going to say this is FF, and we're going to make this FF as well. We're going to save it, we're going to compile it, and then we're going to see what that did. So if we go back into the output, it doesn't look like it's too different, and that's okay. We're going to do a little... Let's make some other changes. That might break some more things. Let's close this. So in the rest of our table, we have the marker, we have the size, we have the number of components, and then we have the individual components here. Now, the first value is the actual selector, and then the next one is the ID of the related Huffman table. So if we know what the IDs of our Huffman tables, we can plug in different values here. Right now we have 00 and 11, so I'm just going to flip 1100, and we're going to see what that does. Again, we're starting with the more subtle changes. Oh, okay, that actually was not super subtle, which is great. We added some color. So if we look at this one, all we did was we basically just took existing data and then just kind of directed it somewhere else. I like it. Cool. Let's do some more stuff. Another reason why I wanted to break this out is if we break it into separate chunks and we break something a specific chunk, we can just come back and replace that with what was from the default rather than starting all the way over. Let's go into what's another thing. What are we looking for? Quantization tables. This is a quick thing. In JPEGs, there are 2 quantization tables. It's something to do with sort of macroing and compressing all the big uncompressed data. And there's 2 tables, and we can basically just swap the ID in it, and it can have a pretty subtle effect, but we're going to see how much that actually did. So, quantization table 1, what we're looking for is basically just the number after the length of the table. So we're going to open this. FFDB004300. We're going to flip that to the other one, 01. Wait, no, we want to be in insert mode. Cool, and then the other one, we're going to make that 00. Again, why? I don't know. It just works. So we're going to compile that, see what that looks like. I think that was this one. Again, it's a subtle thing. If we zoomed in really far, we might see that things maybe look a little sharper in one versus the other. But again, we have a variety of things we can do, from either extremely destructive to not destructive. And really all we're doing is just messing with how the image viewers are interpreting the data. So I like this so far. And we're just going to go with a couple. Maybe a couple of these, because I want to get into some of the other stuff. All right, so we have the quantization tables that we've messed with. That's these 2 things here. Next thing we're going to do is let's mess with the Huffman table. So this is way more destructive. We're going to start with this one, and it's also a little bit more difficult to work with, which is also partly why it's good to break this stuff out. So our marker is FFC4. The next 2, just like all the other tables, has our size, and then the first 16 bits we can't touch. Everything else, though, we can touch. So FFC4, 00. Actually, let's scroll down a little bit. 17. Okay, so this is our size. This is our ID. So depending on the ID, if it ends in a 0, then any numbers that we mess with need to be between 00 and 0F. Otherwise, if it's 01, then it could be from 00 to FF. So what I want to check to see is how big is this table? So we have 1D, and I'm actually going to go into a hex to decimal converter. It's going to be your best friend if you do this kind of stuff. Here we go. I need to get a lav mic, like Bug and Moss do. All right, so we're looking for, what is 1D in decimal? That is 29. So we're going to work out, let's see, is that decimal includes those 2 bits? Okay, so starting from here, we're going to go out 29. That's the whole length of this table. And we want to go from the size to the ID and then count the next 16. Reason why we're doing that is we cannot mess with those bits. Okay, so we have this table here. The last 4 bits we can actually mess with are these. That's... I'm not exactly sure why, but let's see what this does. So we're going to change this to 05. No, we want to go back. We want to insert, not... We want to overwrite, not insert. So let's do this again. We're going to compile and bend. We changed one number, and going from this to this, it kind of messed up the data a little bit. I think that looks neat. We're going to do a little bit more. Let's go to a different... Let's keep working with this table. Change that to 05. Compile again. So we're slicing up the data. I like that so far. Let's go into one of the later Huffman tables. So we have FFC4014. I think, what is that? I think that's just 14 in hexadecimal, but let's see. 14 is, oh, that's 20. I lied. So, and this is 1, 1. So if we count out 16, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, so the rest of these we can mess with. Because the ID is 1, 1, now we can use anything between 0, 0, and FF. So if I change this to F... Nope, need to insert. F, FF. Let's save. Let's compile. And we broke it. Let's set this back to 0, 0. Let's make sure it works still. Okay, works still. It's only broken if you can't go back and fix it. So let's do FF here. It's this. Okay. That's a little touchy. FFC4014 1. This is... Oh, the only thing we... No, wait. Is it 12 bits or 16 bits? 16. Okay, so the only bit we can mess with is this last one. Let's do FF. Let's try that. Okay, that worked. I don't like how it's kind of eating the file, so we're eating the image. So let's do 0, 2. See what that does. It's still eating the image, so I don't like that one. We're gonna get out of here. But I think we got some nice variations. So we have this one that looks neat. Then we start to break down the image a little bit, and then we have the broken ones from here. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab these. Where are we? We want to get into programming, projects, ORT, glitch tools, assets, output. Okay. So we don't need to worry about this one or this one, but this one, this one, and this one. And actually notice the image in the viewer, in the preview, looks a little different from the image in the preview over here. I don't know why that happens, but it happens. It's neat. We're going to copy these. We're going to work with these later. We're going to throw these into our folder for today. JPEG bending. We got some bent JPEGs. Let's do one more. See this, this, this. All right, we're going to clear out our data here. This. And let's grab, what image do we want to use? No, not there. Assets, output. Where did I put the dang images? We haven't done much with... Which one is it? I think actually all these we've done something with. But I want to work with... Let's say 6. That's a neat one. All right, so we need to change what we're referencing. We're going to analyze... Now we have the dang data for it right here. We're going to do a test compile to make sure that it works. We have a valid image. Great. So now we're going to start messing with it. So let's go into the bending file. So before, let's do the same thing we did before. So we started with the SOS marker. Again, we have our 2 markers. We have the size of the table. That's never going to change. Then we have the number of components, then the individual components from here. 0, 3, and then that's there. Okay, so we're going to change in a slightly different way. Again, we need to overwrite, not insert. No, it's still pretty subtle. Let's do 10. I've gotten some pretty interesting effects out of here before, but it really varies. FF. Let's do one more, then we'll switch gears. Okay, so that hasn't done too much. Another thing with bends like these is they can sort of add on to each other. So if we didn't touch this, but we bent something else, then it would maybe look slightly different. Again, we're kind of just poking to see what works, but poking it in such a way where it's still going to be a valid image. So we messed with the SOS marker. We're going to just jump to the Huffman tables. So FFC4, 1D, so our table is however big that is. And then our ID is 0. Actually, we did 1 and 4 last time. Let's do 2 and 3 this time. So FFC4, 4C. How big is that? So 4C, I think that might be like 60-ish, 76. Okay. What we are looking for is we have 10 as our ID. We are going to count out, so we have ID. No, our ID is, yep, 10. So we're going to count out 4C or 76. No, actually, that's all this here. So all this here. Right? Nope, just past that. Okay. So we have a little bit more we can work with. So we need to count out 16. And then the rest of this we can blow up. So let's change a little bit. I'm actually going to say... Nope. Let's replace, and let's compile that, see what that looks like. This one, not too much of a change just yet. What if we do FF0000, FF0000, FF0000? Let's try that. Nope. Let's try this one more time. This one. Okay, that is a little bit more different. So we went from this to this. The bends tend to look a little samey at a certain point, but I still think it's neat. All the way in. Can we get all the way out? Yes, we can. Lovely. All right, so I like these. I think we have successfully bent some JPEGs. Laptop's getting a little low. We're going to close that up. All right, so let's see. All right, so let me pull those things over. This was from Glitch Tools. We might come back to here in a future art stream, but let's grab what we bent so far. So these are the same. I mean, that's the same. Really just need one variation. Let's drop that in. Oh, that's the same folder. Where are we? We are right here. Actually, maybe there's one more thing we can adjust. Pardon me, if we go back to the SOS table, we can replace some of these IDs. So we have 3 components. First one, second one, third one. One Huffman table that isn't being used is Huffman table 2, because that has an ID of 10. So let's drop that in here. Nope. So here, let's replace this with here. All right, so let's compile that and see what it looks like. Oh, nope, that did the thing that we saw last time. Never mind. But also comparing this versus this, like, I don't know why it does that. I just think it's cool. This ends up looking a little more pixely. This looks a little more like blocky and stuff. I mean, they're both pixely, but yeah. Cool. So that's the JPEG bending in a nutshell. What we're going to do from here, I want to see if we can pull the dang palettes out from some of these and make some... Let's see, where are we? Here's our JPEG bent stuff. We're going to make some kaleidoscopes. We're going to remap the colors. Okay, so going into Blender, let me pull up Blender. We are right here. So I also figured I could use the non-glitched versions. So let me also... So we got our bent JPEGs here. So that's the black and white one, and then this is the one that looks like an album cover. Okay. So what I want to do... If we go into Blender, let's get the one that looks like an album cover. Where are we? Nope. Don't want to create a new image. Let's load an image in. Where I got this tutorial from was Toxic Tuba on YouTube. I think they go under a different handle now. But where are we? We are right here. Let's grab this one. And then it looks all kinds of messed up. Now, I've already have some motion baked into it. So if we want to see what it looks like real quick. You know, it looks trippy. I think it looks neat. One potential issue is that it is in grayscale. So we could maybe add some color to it. I also think maybe it looks... I don't know, I like the way it looks in black and white. But then it might not have too much of variation. I don't know, we'll see. But what I do want to do, since I've already used this... Ooh, cool, with some color. Yeah, I think so too. What I want to do... Let's do this. Down here, I have the sort of automation curves. Let's go back to the beginning. Let's set this at like here. Same thing at the end as well. I think 960. Same thing here. And between, we're just gonna go in a little bit. So if we see how that looks, we should be able to see this down here. Might need to zoom out a little bit. Let's see. Sorry, this is the first time I've messed with this particular thing. Oh, there we go. All right. So what I want to make sure is that the curves are not... What are we looking for? Looking for this one. That they're just... That they are not being eased in and that they're linear, because when I've tried like the Bezier and other ones, there's like a ramping at the beginning and at the end. Let's see how this looks. We're going to mess with some other stuff too. And let's make sure that it loops all the way through, because if it doesn't... Okay, cool. So we're going to do the same thing. We have some other parameters here. So this ping pong thing, let's see what that does. It kind of controls the looping in and out, which is neat. And where it starts to kind of feedback on itself. We're going to clear out the keyframes. We're going to start all the way at the beginning. At 2... No, where are we? Right here. 2-ish. We're going to go to the end and do the same thing. Again, this is how I'm making sure that it is... like it's going to loop. Because I would rather it loop. And let's make sure that that loops. And it loops. Cool. All right. It's like it has like a nice undulating sort of texture to it. What are we doing? All right. So let's mess with some other things. We had this rotation piece, which can be pretty neat. We can automate this a little bit. Let's do 0. Okay. So we're going to start off with 0 at the beginning. We're going to go to 0 at the close to the end. And we're going to adjust this. Let's say like right here. Okay. So let's make sure it loops. So we start off like this. That looks neat. And back in the end. Okay, it loops. Let me double check that. Pardon my mic. And I got distracted again. Let's try that one more time. Okay, cool. That loops. We have a bunch of other things that are doing things. All right, I love that. I guess in terms of color, it's already in black and white. Let's try to add a little bit of color. So I have a couple of color ramps here. Basically, that's depending on how bright or dark it is, it's going to add colors. And this basically controls how much of the colors we can add. Let's bring this down this way a little bit. I can also flip these. But yeah, we're going to change the colors on this because I don't really like this just yet, like right now. That's okay. Let's maybe change this. Yeah, that's fine. Maybe make it a little darker. Okay, cool. So I like that. Let's give it a run through, and then maybe we'll export it. I'm liking that so far. Then once we're good with this, we're going to export it and see how that looks. So we'll have the original version. We'll do some variations on it. Then maybe we'll also drop the glitched version of this in. Basically just use the same settings and then export that. Okay, I like that. Cool. So let's go ahead and export it. Now this was kind of a pain in the butt to refigure out the other day, but we got there. Let's do, where are we? Output settings, I think. Render settings, maybe? Nope. Output, there we go. We want to export this. Sure. And let's try to render animation. Okay, it's working. Lovely. Now, how is the stream? Can y'all still hear me? Because we're doing Blender Live, and let me see how well this is. Okay, well, it looks like at least in OBS, looks like I'm doing okay, but that's local. But once, I'm still good. Okay, so once this is done, we're gonna see how it looks outside of Blender. We're gonna then run this through, we're gonna run the glitched version through this with the same colors. Then we're gonna see if we can pull some colors from some images and then remap it. And then we might get some things that also look neat as well. But yeah, so that's our weird process for tonight. As we get closer to the end, I think, Sids, if you're still here, I think you're streaming. We'll raid over into you once we get closer. I think we're just about done. Okay, no, we're like a third of the way through. So we'll give that some time. While that's working, though, let's see if we can find some colors that we want to work with. I do like the colors of... we could go to the OG images. We could go to the glitched ones. I think that was what I was planning on doing, actually. OG's glitched. Not pixel sorting. Rat King. There we go. This one is neat. Color source A. That one's kind of dark. This one's probably the best out of that bunch, but let's grab a different one. Let's see, I'm just looking for something that has a good amount of contrast to it. All right, I like this one. We could also grab the original images. Color source B. This one's also neat as well. It might also just look horrid, but we're going to find out. Color source C. And let's get one more for good measure. We'll go back. Granted, these are going to be the same colors as before, but that's fine. Sure, we'll go for this one. Color source D. Okay, so we got our color sources. We still need to pull the actual palettes from them, but we can knock that out real quick. Let's see how we're doing in Blender. Looks like we're done. Okay, let's close out of here. I didn't close Blender, did I? No, I did not. Okay, so we're going to save that real quick. Let's see how that looked. What are we looking for? Art stream, pixel sorting, go back, go back. What was exported today? This one right here. All right, so this wasn't a test, but we're throwing them here anyway. Just to see what this looks like. I think that looks pretty neat, personally. It's like a lot of motion to it, so it's, you know, there, you can tell where it's like overlapping, but then those bits of overlap are like changing over time. So I just think it's neat. Where are we? We're going to loop this just to make sure. It's skipping a little bit, but I think that just might be an issue with the media player. Also, what's playing? This is neat. Oh, Darkest Dungeon. Hell yeah. Actually, let's skip ahead a little bit. Let's do some Stardew. Sure. All right, so we have this one. We're going to say this is Liquid Light OG Kaleidoscope. All right, so we're going to go with the glitched one now. We're going to use the same color palette because then that'll be affected by the colors in the same way. What are we looking for? What are we looking for? Project. Art streams. Today. JPEG bending. I think it was... Which one was that? LL1? Also, for folks who might be listening in, Emily and I are going to be starting up Stardew streams. Well, really just date night streams because everything is more expensive and we would rather spend time inside than spend money. So, yeah, I think that's going to be this Saturday at 6, if I'm not mistaken. What am I looking for? I'm looking for... Which one? LL1 bending compiled. Let's get rid of this last bit. Oh, I want to keep the JPEG part. .jpg. Also, fun fact, if you remove the extension, you technically break it, but you can fix it if you just add the extension back. I mean, it makes sense. I just think that's neat. What are we looking for? Oh, I was just there. I was just there. JPEG bending. This one. Okay, so it looks a little different. I mean, there's still a graininess in it. It's just not as colorful. Can pull this down a little bit. Since the color range got compressed a little bit. Okay, that's a nice counterpart. And I want to change how the colors are getting ramped. That looks neat. Neat. There's linear, B-spline, constant. That's block here. I like this and the cardinal for different reasons, so we're going to export both. So we're going to stop this. Render animation. And that's going to render for a bit. While that's doing its thing, we're also going to go back into... We're done with glitch tools for right now. We're going to go and... Shoot, what are we doing? Not pixel sorting. We are going to pull out the palettes. Generate palette from input. There we go. So we have our color sources. Color source A, B, C, and D. We're going to do this a couple times. Don't worry about the script, or the FFmpeg sort of script, but we can dig into that if y'all are interested. We're going to do, what is this? SH, main, SH. I don't know if the warnings mean too much. We're just going to ignore that for now. Do we have a palette? We have a palette that looks like it's from the colors in our image. And our image is this one. I think it worked. What I'm not sure of is what else you can do with this. Like if you rotate the image, if that will affect the output. That might be something we can mess with next time. But let's get B down. Oh, I think it's a PNG. A ping. No, I need to give it a different name. Color source B. Palette B. Let's try this again. I know what I'm doing. It's doing a thing. Let's make sure that worked. Super small, so it's kind of hard to see, but if we zoom in really far, we get a palette out of it. Nice, nice, nice. All right, so we're going to do color source C. Oh, Hyperlight Drifter. Hell yeah. All right. Let's do this one. All right, so we have that palette, and let's do D. This palette as well. Oh, and I need to give it... Oh, that's a JPEG. That's it. That's right. And if I am not mistaken, we have palette 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so what I'd like to do is I want to get my input. So we got our color sources here. I want to take some things and bend them a little bit. So we have this kaleidoscope that we made. We have another one that is now done. So we have both of these together. Let's change the name. Light glitch. All right, so let's check the glitch one, see how it looks. I really like that. So now that we have these two, what I'm thinking we could do is we could make some variations of both of these using the different palettes that we have. And that's like, all right, it's like 30-ish seconds, 32 seconds, not bad. All right, cool. So I'm going to grab both of these. I'm going to drop them into our input folder. And we're just going to call them A and B. Now, the way we're going to remap these colors is basically you can do it with GIFs in FFmpeg, where it's like, hey, we have this GIF, we're going to remap the colors. So what you need to do is you need to convert whatever the initial thing is into a GIF, remap it, and then convert it back. So if we dig into this filter chain a little bit, and it's not this one, it's this one. So our input is an image and our input is a palette. Then we say, all right, so it's going to be 30 frames. We're going to use a different palette with this. We're going to use the palette from the second source, for the first source, and then we're going to output that. Now, what I'm going to do is, so those are copied here. I'm just going to name this glitch and OG. And we're going to see what that does. So going over here, we're going to say this is not KL, this is glitch. No, this is OG.mp4. We're going to use palette A. We're going to run it and see what it does. This might take a second. It is about 960 frames, so it is going to take a second. But while we're waiting, I know I've been blabbing for the past, like, 45 minutes, and I know technically that's what you're supposed to do as a streamer, but how is everybody doing? Hope y'all are doing well. Is this Banjo-Kazooie? I think it might be Banjo-Kazooie. Well, we're going to come back to this later. We are getting close to time, so I want to make sure we can put a good amount of time into the color mapping, since I think that's really neat. We're going to duplicate this, because what I'd like to do is go into the output. I think this was from my testing. Yes. Nope, that's actually from tonight. We're getting there, chat. We're getting there, folks. Banjo-Kazooie Final Battle. What else can we play instead? RuneScape? Hell yeah. Alright, so that just converted it to a GIF. We used palette A over it. So palette A is this one. Let's see how that actually looked. But keep in mind this is an actual GIF, not an MP3 or not an MP4. It's also not an MP3. So we're going to convert that back. Converting GIF. We're going to say this is OGA. Right? Yep. Okay. So then we're basically saying, all right, take the input, convert it back into an MP4, and then you're good to go. OGA. There's probably a smarter way to do this, but a way you could potentially do it all in one command. We're going to give this a second, though. But let's check. And that dropped it in here. Okay, so now we have our MP4. Let's see what that looks like. And it's an MP4. Awesome. All right, so that's good. We're going to do this a little bit more, but we're going to use the over new video. So OG, we're going to use palette B. We're going to save it as that name. Then we're going to come back and basically just redo the same thing. So we're going to run this again. Going through all the frames. And is this almost done? And it's done. Okay, so we have our GIF. Let's see what that looks like. We're going to rename it. Let's compare that back to this one. Again, we're just using different colors over it, so it's going to look just slightly different. Not too different. We're going to name this to OGB because we use the B color palette. And we're going to do the same thing. Again, just in and out. That's what we're doing. But yeah, for folks who are interested in this kind of stuff, there's a lot you can do with FFmpeg. A lot of really neat artsy stuff you can do with it. So now we have that in MP4 form. So this is B. This is A. And we can go back to the original OG, which is this one. So there's not too much variation. Again, we're just modifying the color, changing it from one to the next to the next. Really with the intention of just having some variation we could potentially work with. So we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to have OGC that we're going to end up with. But before we do that, we need to use palette over new video. And what are we doing? Okay, that's all good. Running the script again. For some reason, it takes a while to go from an MP4 to a GIF. Go figure. What I'm not sure about is with the using a different palette, if it's a global color table or not a global color table. If it's a global color table, that means we could open it up in a hex editor and then do some magic with it. Well, I say magic because it is magic. Let me see how folks are doing right now. All right, so that's another one done. We're going to do the same thing. So this is output. Name this output C. No thank you, Heckbert. OGC. Copy that. Go into here. I think we already got that. There we go. Cool. Same thing. More than halfway there. What I do want to see what the original will also look like, but oh, that looks neat. Like it doesn't know what to do with the pixels and it's dancing around. That's neat. I like that. Well, and one thing I didn't think about was since I'm ending up with a GIF that I'm then converting to an MP4, if I want more zaniness to it, I could go back and modify the GIF and then convert that into an MP4. A lot of ways we can go with this stuff. All right, last one. Palette D. Let's see what we're doing. Who is this? Oh, Fire Emblem. With me is divine. I don't remember this from Three Houses. Maybe this is from a different one. Final Fantasy X. Perfect. All right, so we have our OG. We're converting that into a thing. We're going to do that right now. Oh, we don't have a palette D? Huh? Oh, it's a JPEG. Oops. Do I need to convert that to a JPEG? I can just use it? I didn't know you could just take an image and grab the colors from it. That's neat. Well, let's see if this works, because if it does, that means we could maybe break things in other ways. Yeah, and if anyone wants more of like a deep dive into some of the things that I'm doing, I know it, might not be what's the word I'm looking for. It might not get as like pretty as a picture as if you're like painting or drawing, but I think it's neat to break things like this. Giving that a second. checking on a couple things while we're here. All right, so we got that. That is now a GIF or GIF. OGD. See what this looks like. Okay. Much the same, but that's fine. All right, we're going to then do the penultimate move here. OGD. OGD. Wovway. All right, so run that. It is funny that the GIF is bigger than the MP4. I don't know why I find that funny. I do. Checking on a couple of things while we're here and while we're here. Okay, well, let's see how this looks. We're going to try one more, and then that'll be our nightcap. It doesn't have the same sort of, like, a little bit of glitchiness. But maybe in the next one what we can do is we can take one of these GIFs, these uncompressed GIFs that we have, and see what we can do with it. Maybe mess with the color table. Maybe mess it up a little bit. Something to consider. Okay, so now we have that one. We also have the glitch one. So we're going to do something with the glitch one real quick, just to see what this looks like. We're going to say generate using palette over new video. It's this one. So glitch.mp4, palette a.png. Oh, I didn't. Whoops. Let's do this. Nope, do not overwrite. Thank you. Palette A. Alright, that's fine. Try this again. I know what we're doing. Amazing things, I think. Getting there. Third of the way through. Almost halfway through. I guess we're more than halfway through. It's 960 frames. I wonder what the process is to convert from a GIF to an MP4, because you still have like the raw data in there. I don't know, the nerd in me is wondering. Curious minds and all. Can I find something that's less creepy sounding, please? Something a little less creepy. Oh, that's not creepy. There we go. Oh, now you're telling me? I didn't realize I didn't have the right name. Yeah, sure. Oh, I just borked it. Oh no. Okay, that's fine. Let's see how it looks. Let's see, this is OGD1. Didn't mean to do that. Oh well. So let's check the original, or the glitch one. And let's check... I mean, it is kind of hard to tell, but... This against this. Okay, so no, that didn't change. So glitch.mp4 using palette A. We're going to say... Oh, did it do something? No, it didn't. What are we doing? Palette over new video. Oh, because I didn't save it, duh. Try this again. I know what I'm doing, I think. Here it is. It didn't finish. The damn thing didn't finish. This one did. Okay, we're going to... It recolored. Great. We're going to convert it to an MP4. Sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. I think I do. We're just going to cancel out of this. All right, whatever. Convert it to an MP4. What do we call this one? So, glitch A. We're going to do GIF to MP4, so glitch A. Call this... What are we going to call it? Glitch A. Nope, there we go. Oh, wait, no. Okay, so there's no dash. No dash. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of neat stuff you can do with FFmpeg. Oh, it... Oh, no, of course I can't open the MP4 yet. So here is the recolored version that we landed with. Here is the original version of that. And then the colors that we used to recolor that were from this one. So, yeah, a lot of neat stuff we can do. And we are almost done. Let's check this. So, we're converting to a GIF, changing the colors, converting that back out to an MP4. One advantage of converting it out into a GIF like this is that we can come back and then just futz with the GIF later. So, lots of neat things we can do. But I am going to thank you all for joining me in our stream today. What I'm going to do, let me switch over into our view over here. I'm looking for somebody that we can raid. So I'm probably gonna knock out the rest of this over the weekend. We're gonna find something else that we can do. Maybe we can mess with the actual GIF headers, or like the color tables in the GIFs, make them a little more glitchy, so we can get something a little more chaotic. But what I'm looking for is I want to find somebody to raid. So let's see. We raided Markatoto last time. Do we want to try Bulb? Let's see. Well, hope you all like Dead by Daylight. Let's raid somebody. Who are we following? There is the Earth Modular Society. There's Turtles and Chill. Again, we raided Markatoto last time. We could raid my boss, but that'd be an experience. Let's do... Mecha Chameleon's been pretty fun. Let's raid HC Justin. Alright. Well, again, thank you all for joining me today. I hope you all have a good rest of your evening, and I will catch you all next week. Actually, well, let me make sure I can actually raid first. And we can. Perfect. Thank y'all so much. Have a good rest of your evening. Are we raiding? Oh, in 5 seconds. Perfect. All right. Bye, all. And HC Justin Twitch.